Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Late Saturday night, Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes, land another commitment in the 2026 class from four-star running back Javian Mallory. There wasn't another program that was recruiting this kid as hard as Mario Cristobal and Miami. It was very clear this was one of the top targets on the running back board over the last couple of weeks, and like a dog on the bone, Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes get it done. Now, to the Miami Hurricane fans, I want to start with this. I apologize. We're sitting here Sunday morning talking about this commitment. I was out with some buddies last night watching the Wrestling National Championships, watching a little March Madness. Now, I was sitting there and I saw the news on my phone and said, I think I'd rather be talking to Miami Hurricanes on the recruiting trail. So I apologize that we're a little bit late getting this episode out. Fired up to get into it. And from what it sounds like, there's some momentum building on the recruiting trail for Miami. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I think we got a lot of commitments coming down the pipe. We got that spring scrimmage coming up next weekend, which I'm fired up to talk about and hear what we see, or I guess see what we hear from that spring scrimmage. Appreciate you guys. Without further ado, let's get into Javian Mallory. And again, to me, it always starts with when you get the opportunity to land a name that this staff clearly likes a lot. That's always a really good thing. Then you start getting into Javian Mallory as a football player, and there's a couple of things that jump right out to you. You know, one, 5'11", 200 plus pounds, and he looks even bigger than 200 plus pounds on the junior year film. Certainly runs bigger than that. This kid loves contact. He loves to attack the line of scrimmage and kind of get downhill. You know, two things that not all that often do you see a lot of running backs at the high school ranks invite contact the way Javian Mallory does. You know, there's a lot of running backs that just like to get out to the boundary and use their speed and athleticism. Javian Mallory has a game that I think will translate really well to the college football level. Now, he's extremely physical, 5'11", 200 pounds, loves inviting contact, works off contact extremely well. I don't even know if that's my favorite aspect of his game, because the short area quickness for this kid at that size, it's incredible. I mean, the jump cut, it's one of the best jump cuts that you see in this 2026 class. He makes people miss in a phone booth about as well as any other running back in the 2026 cycle. That matters because you look at college football and some of the stuff that a lot of young running backs really struggle with. It's working between the tackles, being able to pick through traffic and pick through all that mess in the middle of the line of scrimmage. Javian Mallory seems like that's where he's most comfortable. And so you talk about these running backs translating to the college football level. That's something that you always look for. And I think Javian Mallory has that. And then lastly, just great feel and vision for the position. And that's something that I think oftentimes when we're talking about these kids coming out of high school, we just gravitate towards, okay, what's their size? Do they have any verified track times? And I'm not getting up here and saying size and speed doesn't matter. We talk about it all the time. You get bigger, stronger, faster players, you're going to have a good football team. But at the running back position, do you have a running back that knows how to have that kind of feel that you want? And it's hard to describe. You can tell I'm struggling to describe it. We'll see it on the film in just a little bit. That'll be easier to get a sense of what I mean. That's what stands out to me the most is the feel that this kid has for the position and how well he's able to pick through all that traffic, specifically running between the tackles. Now, the one knock on Javian Mallory is the long speed is not elite. I think it's that's probably the most overrated aspect of a running back. And the long speed is not bad. You very rarely see him get caught from behind. So I'm not saying the long speed is bad. It's just probably not some of the best that you see in the 2026 class. Look, how many times at the college football level do you really get to open it up and kick it into full gear? Very rarely. And so although it's always fun to talk about running backs that go 10-7 in the 100-meter dash, to me, it matters a lot more of what your short area quicks look like and your ability to make people miss in tight spaces. Javian Mallory, for that size, really, really impressive from that aspect. You turn on the film, you learn quickly, what I mean with a guy like Javian Mallory. And you take a look at the stats. The stats are the one that jumps off the table. I mean, he only played 6 games as a junior, only had 63 carries, 681 yards, 10.9 yards per carry with 10 touchdowns. I mean, you do the math on that. He's scoring a touchdown on just about one in every 6 carries he scores touchdowns on. I think that's really impressive. You turn on the film, and again, what stands out the most is what he does between the tackles. I mean, he's a guy that has great feel when I mean, you talk about some jump cuts, you talk about feel. This is what you want it to look like, especially out of a young running back. And then we're gonna make a safety miss in a tight area here, work off some contact. I'm getting up here talking about his long speed not being great. You see it on the film. It certainly ain't bad. This is a guy that does not get caught from behind very often at 5'11", 200 pounds. Again, you continue to roll through it, and the best thing you get is just the vision and how he works through traffic in the short area quicks and the ability to make people miss. And again, once again, if you're a safety and you take a bad angle on this kid, he's going to run right by you. I think it's not always flashy with Javian Mallory, but I mean, jump cuts. I mean, he's just so good. He's got a tremendous feel for running between the tackles, which is so rare when you're talking about running backs coming out of high school. This is probably my favorite carry that he has on the film. I mean, he invites contact. He ain't even gonna try to make this guy miss. Look how low he gets, inviting contact, meeting him with the pads. I mean, this is a guy that wants to. He can make you miss, but he can also run right through you too. And you talk about short yardage, guys that know how to get it done. Javian Mallory is certainly that guy. This is a nice get, and you can tell why Miami really did like this kid in the 2026 class, because he checks a lot of boxes at that running back position. We talk about this a lot too. In this era, we see so many one-trick ponies at the running back spot. And I think who was a good example of this, a guy like Chris Johnson, who I really did like, but he was kind of just I'm really, really fast. Well, that if that's your only thing that you bring to the college football level, sometimes it's hard to get you involved. When you can do a lot of things at a high level, those are the running backs that have the most success, both at the college and the NFL level. Continue to work through it, and again, you just continue to feel, I mean, how comfortable he is running the football, finishing tough. Safety didn't have a chance there. Now, what intrigues me the most is you look at Miami in the 2026 class, and it's sitting top 20 class in the country right now. We know it's going to get better over the next couple of months. Where do they go at the running back position? I think an interesting name to now monitor is Tredarian Bell, who was on campus for Miami this weekend. And this is the part of what Mario Cristobal does is, hey, we're going to look at some other running backs too. And Javian Mallory's looking at it and said, all right, I know Miami likes me. I better commit to Miami because Miami's getting some traction with some other running backs in this class. Tredarian Bell, 5'10", 175, probably has put on a little bit more weight. Junior year film is really, really good down there in the state of Texas. Really good pass catcher out of the backfield. A guy that, although he's not the biggest running back, is very, very physical running the football. The other name to monitor, and probably my favorite name, and what I think is probably the best running back in this class, and that's Derek Cooper. Local kid. Miami is probably the leader in the clubhouse. This is the name I'm turning it up for. I think this is the best running back in the 2026 cycle, a legitimate difference maker who, I mean, at 6'1", 205, there were times during his high school career where, people thought he was going to be a back seven defender at the safety spot. You take one look at the junior year film of him running the football and say, this kid is a running back. You want him to have the football 20 plus times a game. This is my number one running back, and I would love to see Miami land Derek Cooper. And you land Derek Cooper, Javian Mallory, that is a heck of a running back class in 2026. And we know Miami's getting aggressive on the offensive line. Miami's getting aggressive with the running backs they want to bring in. We know, I think this year is really going to show what the script is for Mario Cristobal. We want to dominate the line of scrimmage. We want to run the football at a high level. And I think you're going to see one of the best rushing attacks in the country in 2020, in the 2025 year. It's only going to help your chances with some of these top running backs and offensive linemen in the 2026 class. We'll see where we go from here. Big time commitment with Javian Mallory. A lot more commitments to come. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.